Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my Roth IRA journey. Today, we have a very exciting video for you. I'm going to dive in deeper on Amazon. I also added a new stock to my portfolio, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And if you've been keeping up with the current events, Iran versus Israel. So, what am I doing exactly with my portfolio? Am I changing things around? Am I buying different things? What am I doing exactly? But as always, this whole Roth IRA is meant to outperform the S&P 500. So for year to date, so from January 1st till today, June 21, we are up 19.23%. And from year on year, so from June to June, we're up 32%. So doing pretty well. Let's take a peek on the S&P 500. Year to date is only up almost 2%, so we're up almost 20. The S&P is only up 2%. And year on year, so June to June, the S&P is up 9.21%, and we're up over 30%. So far, stock picking has been doing great. And as you can see, we have a very, very safe portfolio. Full disclaimer, this is my Roth IRA. This is money that I'm holding and I'm not going to touch until I'm in the 60s. So my volume of buys is not as big as my other portfolios, but it's all about percentages. If I could make 100 double, I can make 1,000 double, I can make 1,000,000 double. So remember, there's power and volume of investing. But let's see what we did this week. So we have left for the years to invest $5,033. And what did I do? So on June 20th, I deposited $250. I bought $50 of Amazon, $50 of Google, and this is the new stock. UnitedHealthcare, the big one, but we'll get into that. But first, let's get into Amazon and why I love Amazon and just keep buying it every single week. Look at this growth. In 2020, the revenue was $386 billion a year. And now, Amazon's revenue is $637 billion. So in a matter of 4 years, a company with the size of Amazon pretty much doubled their revenue. And not only that, they're getting bigger. So Amazon's investing a lot into AI and it's trying to get into moats. And just like Google, Amazon's like buying a big ETF. So let's look at Amazon businesses. So all these companies are under Amazon. And it's amazing because you have Whole Foods, you have Ring, so all these cameras, Audible, if you're listening to books, AWS, which is used by a lot of businesses. That is the cloud, the biggest cloud actually in the world. So all your data and storage, that's what's used. They have Amazon Prime. A lot of people cannot live without Prime. Imagine ordering a package and then you find it in front of your door the next day. It's just amazing. It's better than going to Walmart. It's on your phone. If something's not urgent, it will come back in a day or two. Amazon Air, Amazon Music, and Amazon Pay, Twitch. So as you can see, when you're buying Amazon, you're not just buying one company. You're buying multiple companies. They also got Zoox. They're getting into automated driving. So Amazon is doing a big thing. And let's take a look at what they're doing. So this is how Amazon's looking like in their factories and how they're getting the robots and the AI to be fully automated. And then eventually they're going to be cutting out a lot of corporate jobs, which is primarily is costing them a lot of money. So by they automating that, Amazon is going to be printing money.
So the warehouse is 2.6 million square feet. It has 2,500 full and part-time employees.
Those employees are handling 3.5 million items every week here, with a lot of help from thousands of robots. Amazon says globally, robots help with 75% of all orders.
Amazon is one of the most advanced robot users in the world. Now, robot warehouses are an astonishing thing.
There's some 5,000 robotic drive units here, ferrying packages around and tall yellow bins filled with items.
Instead of a human being going to get the product from the shelf comes to the human being.
Except for some drive units, most of Amazon's robots, including Vulcan, operate behind a fence.
To make sure that everyone around them is safe.
Robotic arms like Cardinal, Robin, and the newer Sparrow have been moving items and packages around in Amazon warehouses since 2021. But those primarily rely on cameras for detection and suction for grasp.
So we give the robot a sense of touch using a sensor that measures force in all 3 directions.
Aaron Parness spent 10 years developing robotics for space at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory before joining Amazon in 2019. Now he leads the team that developed Vulcan. When the idea first came up, he thought it was impossible.
There was a recent PhD graduate who was trying to get the robot to stow items into the fabric pods. My first impression was, oh, how naive. The real world is going to teach this new grad that robots can't do these things.
Then the team came up with the Gripper with a special sensor and some key movement capabilities.
Like sweeping the items to one side. And I had this pivot from, this is never going to work, to, oh my gosh, this is the future.
The final result, Vulcan, is a 3-part system. An employee puts an item from these yellow bins onto a conveyor, where it's picked up by the first part, a moving robotic structure called a gantry.
Which is a robot that moves horizontally and vertically. We'll take that bag of Skittles and put it into our buffer wall. It waits there until the robot makes a match. So the robot brain is looking for an opportunity where it can create enough space to put that bag of Skittles.
Next, it's picked up by this robotic round foam disc.
We affectionately call that the squash turner. So it reorients the item, kind of like it sounds. Things like books where you want the titles facing out, or things where you need to align it so that it'll fit in the space.
So that's pretty much like kind of the highlight with the robotics that it's going to benefit Amazon. Most of Amazon's cost is human labor. So they say already 75% of what's going on in Amazon is being handled by robots. So imagine if that number gets higher and higher, becomes more automated. They have self-driving cars or a robot that just brings you stuff to the front of your door. They're going to be printing money. And this is a company that's almost doing $1 trillion a year. So imagine if a lot of that becomes profit. Even if they increase their profit by 5% for a company the size like Amazon, you will see a lot of returns. And it's a very, very safe company to hold that has a lot of potential future. And this is just one side of the logistics. Amazon is also getting into healthcare, and they're going to dominate that just like everything else they dominate. So let's take a peek on the healthcare side.
You see this race evolving?
Absolutely. Let's start with Amazon. Here's why they're poised to win. Is they're an ecosystem. It starts with a $3.9 billion acquisition of One Medical. That's a physician group that's got doctor's offices in almost every major U.S. city. Why does that matter? Because it gives Amazon direct access to doctors in a way that very few tech companies have. But that's just one piece of a much larger strategic play. Amazon acquired PillPack, an online pharmacy. They have retail stores like Whole Foods. So you can imagine, Scott, you have a telehealth visit with One Medical. They help you in half the time with none of the paperwork because of AI. And then you, from the convenience of your own home, you order your prescription medication, and then you're able to go to Whole Foods with AI recommendations. That's the journey of Amazon, all powered by AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is the computing infrastructure. So that's the ecosystem that we're talking about. But let's not discount NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the picks and shovels.
So what he said with Amazon, they acquired One Medical Group. They own Whole Foods and PillPack, and then you have Amazon Web Services. So it's a whole one-stop shop. This is about to be your primary care. This is about to be your telehealth, your pharmacy, and it'll be delivered to you within a day or maybe even same day. So Amazon is a company that's not going anywhere. It's only innovating. They have the power of AWS, and out of all of other companies that are fighting with the AI revolution and in the race, out of all the companies that would benefit the most is Amazon. Just look at their infrastructure. Look at how they operate. They need robots. They need AI. They need all that for the logistics, the healthcare, for all these businesses that they own. So Amazon right now is cheap. It's a company that will grow and is super safe. So let's get on to the next company. What did I buy? And I kind of mentioned it earlier, and that is UNH. This company right here has been through the ringers. They had the CEO get murdered. They got fraud accusations for paying off Medicare nursing homes, forcing the residents to not go to hospitals and stay home. But just remember, the stock follows the news. If things are going bad, like the stock price is going down, all you're going to see is the news going down. But if you take a look at this company, and mindful, full disclaimer, I'm not holding this company until I'm 60. This company is a turnaround play. I honestly hate the healthcare sector in terms of insurance and all these stuff, but I want to benefit off of these evil companies. I want to make money when they make money. So my whole point is to double my money, maybe get out of this company at around 480 up to 500 and make a quick profit on this company because right now the valuation is super cheap. And if you look at this company, what's really cool about Robinhood, it shows you the insider buyings. Right here, there were so many buys by the CEO, the CFO, and also if you look in the dark loop or the hidden portal of buying, a lot of Congress people are buying this stock. And people sell stocks for multiple reasons. They have to buy a home, they're moving out, they got a divorce, life happens. So many reasons why people sell a stock. But people only buy a stock for one reason, and that one reason only is to make money. So if you have Congress buying this company hand over fist, you have the CEO and the CFO buying this company hand over fist, and with all these allegations, most likely they're probably going to beat them. These allegations are probably not that severe. So I'm here for a short play, short term, and I'm probably going to take the profits and buy Amazon and Google. But this is what I'm buying recently. You don't have to follow me on this one. This is more a little bit of risky play, but my analysis and my details and looking deeply into this company, I see something shady going on and I just want to be a little bit part of it. You could call it FOMO. All right, now let's get to the heavy subject, the Iran and Israel war. A lot of things have been going on. We don't know if we're going to strike or not. This is a little clip of Trump talking about it.
The Iranian foreign minister this afternoon said if the U.S. is serious about negotiations, that you would call up Israel and request that they stop their airstrikes. Will you make that request?
Well, I think it's very hard to make that request right now. If somebody's winning, it's a little bit harder to do than if somebody's losing. But we're ready, willing, and able, and we've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Did the Europeans help at all in talking with the Iranians?
No, they didn't help. No. Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Mr. President.
Iranian foreign minister this.
So the war is getting insane. It's getting bad. You know, we're talking about potential nuclear weapons. You know, you got two nations that absolutely hate each other. So what am I doing exactly with my portfolio? Am I going to sell my stocks? Am I going to buy? This is what I'm going to do. In reality, I'm not selling a single share out of any of my stocks. Maybe UNH, because I don't really like that company. I'm just in it for a play. But the reason why I'm not selling, if you look at history, the stock market has went through everything. It has went through the Great Depression. It has went through major wars. We had the Iraq War with the weapons of mass destruction, kind of like a replay of what's going on right now. And if you look at history, you look at the data, every single time where people panic sold, it was actually a great time to buy. And this is where the most money was made. So if the stock market crashes, you know, year to date we're up 19%. If we're down 50%, I'm gonna start buying. This is when I start like, all right, I'm not eating out anymore. I'm buying specifically stocks. I'm buying great companies. I'm probably gonna double down on Google, Amazon, Nvidia. If Palantir, which is in my other portfolio, crashes, I'm buying that hand over fist, as I always have been, and that's why I have a lot of crazy gains because of this company. So there's a lot of amazing companies out there that I'm looking to buy at a discount. No matter what the current events is, if we go to war and nuclear weapons start being launched at each other and everything like that, my stocks are going to zero without a doubt. But guess what? Your dollar that you're holding that you didn't invest is also going to be worthless. All of this is going to be worthless. We're all going to just pretty much either going to die or wish to be dead. So at this point, does money even matter? So in that meantime, if that doesn't happen, your dollar and then everything rebounds, your dollar is going to be the same. It's going to be worth $1. But my stocks, if I bought during that dip, it doubles, triples, and quadruples. So just remember, Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. So right now we have people that are FOMOing into crazy names that are doing 20% in a day, like Oscar Health, Nebius, all these companies that are not really profitable yet. And everybody's missing out on companies like Google and Amazon. Get these companies. Yes, Oscar Health and all these companies may make a lot of money in the future for that short amount of time. But at the end of the day, if they do, most likely Amazon's going to buy them out. You're going to make a good penny, but also the risk is pretty big. So I hope this helps you, and I'll see you for episode number 3.